Doing gang things, living super clean. Daddy came up. Can't control us. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foes that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control us. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foes that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control us. Look at you, you done came up now. Get it how you live, it's the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. On up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side, hustle what business you and do it to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy. Could've turned out like your homeboy. Being on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had gold. Brand new you on the old time road. Take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't cheat, screaming for the hoe. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you beat the grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foe that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control up. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foe that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control up. One time for the folks that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had to blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a hand out now. Just faking hard work, gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty roads. The hand dealt with a bunch of cars to fold. You stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. You could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't doing nothing, I'ma say these fans won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that man? It's real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, but you keep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foe that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control up. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foe that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Yeah, doing gang things. Living super clean. That it came up. One time for my king doing king things. On this whole cause he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that rock, I'ma let it rain. Make me honest, I gotta rain. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man ain't boast, another cane. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you lonely right now. Settle like a bones instead of in the most high. He provide and protect, so he get our respect. And he leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Seminole. Beats help me, shout it, let the silly go. One time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. Three times for my foe that it came up. Four times cause the man can't control up. Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. Hold on. Okay, there we go. She is cooking with fire today. Shalom and shalom to everyone. I hope you all are having a good evening, enjoying this wonderful Thursday. If you're on the IG, Facebook, YouTube, thank you for joining me this evening. You could have been anywhere on this worldwide internet, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. So, a round of applause for yourselves. We have a few good things we're going to get into today. Shalom, Yanika. Thank you for joining me. Yamaya. Shalom and shalom, sis. Few things we want to get into today. First of all, we are going to talk about the fade in the water. I know it's been given a lot of names. My personal favorite,
Fade in the Water. I think that's what we're going to go with here at the House of Mono. These are available. If you like to, support the House of Mono, get your commemorative t-shirt. Go ahead and slide in the DMs of myself or my husband, and one of us will get that for you. Angelina, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me today. A lot going on today, y'all, right? So our main topic, a hand in your own destruction. We're definitely going to get into that. I'm gonna, share some thoughts on the Fade in Water, of course. And then we are going to talk about the Georgia family who is suing. Check that out real quick. Make sure it's on. What do you mean? Oh, what's that? I had it low.
No, it's all dark. It's on real tech.
What do you mean? Oh, Lord. Sorry, y'all. Mic check 1, 2. Is that better? Okay, awesome. All right, my bad, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm not good at this stuff. I'm sorry. I didn't even know. But shout out to the hardest working, most wonderful husband in Israel. I don't care what y'all say. Monologue McGad, ladies and gentlemen. I could not do any of this without him.
What it is, ladies and gentlemen, just want y'all to know, man, that Monologue and Miss Mono, the duo, coming back here soon, man, starting next week. So we about to go in. Know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man, we starting back, getting it in.
Buddy show next week?
No, I ain't talking about on Thursday. I'm just talking about period.
One day next week. Okay, yeah, y'all heard that. Okay. Listen, let me tell you something. Good men are underrated, okay? And I love mine. Yes, the black man. Okay. All right, so Brianna, shalom and shalom. Shaka, Malaka, shalom and shalom. How y'all doing? Okay, we're going to get to the story about the Georgia family whose baby was decapitated. That is going to tie into our main topic. So overrated. Let me tell you something. Let's get into this. Let's go into Fade in the Water. We're gonna get into that. Yamaya, shalom and shalom, sis. This man been so busy, right? He with F3 and even after that, he's been so busy. So I'm just thankful that he's gonna make the time to come and join me. I'm thinking with y'all a little bit. All right, so I don't really I think we've all discussed all the talking points of Fade in the Water, right? It was a beautiful moment in Black history. A monumentous occasion in Black culture, if you will. As with anything, you're going to have detractors. And I'm a firm believer of family business being family business. And what I mean by that is, even if you feel like maybe that situation could have some kind of way, I can't imagine how you feel that way. But even if you feel that this situation could have been handled differently, like that needs to be among us. Okay. That needs to be the conversation you have at your house with your mama and them. That does not need to be the conversation that we are having in public. Okay. We are trying to have a moment of unity here. Okay. And you have others of us who are trying to totally undo that. And what makes it so bad is that there are people who are who more likely resemble the assaulters, the people who did the assaulting that day. Even their long lost cousins and relatives are saying that they're wrong. We need to get it together as a people. One band, one sound. I mean, we can't even go out here on the same message. So watch who you hang with, y'all. Watch who you hang with, because I'm just, if it was me, okay, and I'm out with you and you let these people jump on me and you didn't do anything at all, oh baby, I never want to see you again. And as a matter of fact, when I get up from this, I'm gonna come looking for you, because how dare you? So please watch who y'all calling y'all friends out here, because everybody ain't got that spirit in them like that. Everybody's not going they will just leave you there to get beat down while they on the phone calling the police or something. And you see what the police did when they got there. They're just standing around like, hey, stop, y'all. Cut that out. Quit. That looks like it hurt. And let me just say this. I ain't see no chair, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, free unk. Okay. Now, all shade. So no shade, but I don't want to be around nobody that's gonna let me get my behind whipped. All shade. I'm gonna say for me, all shade, because no, I never been that kind of person. Like, I've never been that kind of person to just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, go ahead, beat up on my friend. And I would never expect anybody that considers themselves my friend to let that happen to me. Um, Again, it was a beautiful moment for Black people, and I hope we can keep this momentum going as far as unifying around one of us when we see something happening. So I'm proud to be a Negro on today. Okay, right? What chair? We Black people don't even like chairs. We we don't even like to sit in chairs. Haven't y'all been keeping us standing this whole time? I mean, what chairs? No, I agree, and that's how I feel about it too. That's what I'm on too. I ain't seen no chair. Y'all over here tripping. All right, so I wanted to talk to y'all about something a little bit today. I don't know if how closely you follow 3MG on Facebook or F3 on Facebook. Um, but there's a sister in the community who is in need of some financial assistance. If you feel led to give to the House of Mono on today, a percentage of our whatever we take in today will be sent directly to her and her family. Um, she is a single mom with 5 kids. Okay. I did reach out to her. Her kids are in need of some shoes for school. We all know how that can be. And of course, she's in need of housing. But let's not forget the daily essentials: food, hygiene products, those things that we need regardless of where we are. Um, so please, if you feel led to give, Cash App, $ the House of Mono, and a percentage of whatever we raise on today will be sent to her. Okay. All right. So, I wanted to try to get a clip together. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I just in case I did not mention, this sister is in the truth. Okay. She is a Sabbath keeping, commandment keeper, all that good stuff. In fact, yeah, she is. That's what I was like, but yeah, she is. Okay. So let's talk about the incident here in Georgia. And for those of you who don't know about it, I didn't want to I was trying to find a clip that maybe wasn't so graphic, but it's kind of hard because this is a graphic situation. So I do want to issue a trigger warning. Um, this does include the loss of an infant, um, uh, pregnancy, loss of a child. So trigger warning for that. Uh, please, okay. I want to be sensitive to my sisters and cousins. So if this is going to be something hard for you to hear, I totally understand. I get it. All right. Um, and it ties into our main topic, and I'll get into it. But just in case you aren't familiar with the story, there was a family here, a Black family in Georgia, who went to give birth July the 9th. She went into labor, if I remember the date correctly. Um, her the baby dislocated a shoulder coming down the birth canal. And this is not a This is not something that's totally rare. I mean, I've never been an OBGYN, but I have worked labor delivery in the OR. Okay. So I've seen when women have had to come down for emergency C-sections and all the different reasons and stuff like that. So I don't remember the exact name of it, but the baby's coming down, the shoulder is in the way, and the baby cannot be delivered vaginally the rest of the way. Okay. Um, it was noted that the doctor never asked for assistance throughout this procedure. She never asked for another doctor. She never asked, for any kind of assistance. It wasn't until 3 hours later that she went into they took the mom into the OR and performed a C-section. So for 3 hours, y'all, okay, um, instead of asking for assistance or some other type of intervention, the doctor continued to pull on the baby's head and neck, essentially separating the baby's head from his body. Okay. Um, it's hard for me to talk about, you guys, because I'm a mother of 5. I've been there 5 times. Okay. And so you are totally vulnerable when you are in labor. Totally vulnerable. You're in pain. You're going through a whole entire traumatic situation. And yes, her husband was there, but what power does he have if the person who's supposed to be in charge will not do what they're supposed to do? Okay, because my husband was there and he saw everything. But if you're not, I mean, let's keep it real. How many of us know exactly what to expect when you go to deliver? And especially if it's your first time. You know what I mean? You go in there praying for the best, right? So 3 hours later, they did the C-section. And of course, by this time, the mother is demanding to see her child. And this part is really, really sick. I did not plan on getting emotional about this, y'all. This is the sick part, okay? They took the baby and propped the baby's head up on his body and wrapped it in a blanket and gave it to his mother like that. Gave the baby to his mother in that condition. I mean, how do you so of course, protect black mothers. Like, why does this keep happening to black women? Why do we have such a hard time getting adequate health care, right? Of course. Yes, that's what we're all screaming. But then, and I'm gonna show y'all this just in case y'all don't believe me. Hold on. I want to find this picture. I'm gonna find a picture of the doctor. I had it up earlier. Hold on, Georgia. Mm, okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna show this to you guys because I can, and it's 2023, so why not, right? All right. So there's the doctor. Her name is hold on. I don't know why my screen's doing that. I'm gonna stop sharing it with you guys. All right, here we go. Okay, I don't know why my screen was acting up like that, but just in case you did not see, that is a Black lady doctor. Her name is Dr. Tanya Saint something, and she's a Black lady doctor. And so you can imagine when Black women are online screaming, "We need better healthcare, we need better healthcare." How pleasing is it for these haters of us to say, "Oh, wait, it was a Black woman doctor. You can't claim racism now. It was a Black woman doctor." What are y'all gonna complain? It's not racism. She's Black too. And see, so yes, this is why rebuilding our communities is a must while keeping the Most High first. Exactly. So yeah, so of course they're having a field day with this, right? Because oh look, it's a Black one. You can't say it was racially motivated now because it's another Black woman. And so let me say this, and I know we've heard this before, but I hope it hits home. All skin folk ain't kin folk. If we as Bible readers, Bible believers, those of us who claim to know the truth of the Bible, if we know anything, we know that our people have a history of separation, a history of discord, a history of siding with the oppressor and feeling superior to your brothers and sisters who choose not to. Um, and so you have to understand that certain Black people, once they have accomplished, so we talk about class superseding race. We talk about how Black people get to a certain point in life and they're no longer Black. They're now middle class. You know what I'm saying? They're now upper class. They're now this, they're not that. And let's not even get into the Black women that are pledging to these sororities and to these organizations who now identify themselves as Greek. I don't care how you put it. You are identifying yourself as Greek. That's no different than me walking around here identifying myself as a white woman. It's not true. It's quite insulting. And it's downright ridiculous. Looks like ego too. Why not get assistance? Everybody ain't down for us just because they look like us. And that's my thing. And having worked in a hospital, I can tell you, ego runs rampant among medical professionals. Runs rampant. It's always a struggle of who has the most credentials and who's doing this and who can do that. I mean, it is a problem. Like if you've ever worked in a hospital, then maybe you've had a similar experience, but it is a problem. And okay, because that's a whole nother topic, right? That's a whole nother topic because it's making us all look bad. This is making all of us as Black women look bad. Let's see. Once they get to a point, they forget where they come from. Absolutely, they are not of us anymore. Peace and blessings, divinely, shalom and shalom. Thank you for joining me. Hold on, y'all. Okay, sorry guys, had to grab a tissue. Um, so again, just because they have brown skin and our hair, it doesn't mean that they have what I like to call the soul of Black folk. Um, they don't readily identify with us. And the fact of the matter is, we have to start understanding it. And it's so sad to say, but there are some white skinned people who will take up for you more than some of your own brothers and sisters. And I know this is super scary, especially for my sisters and cousins who are going through childbirth, pregnancy, and labor and delivery. Because um, for so long, the cry has been find a black doctor, find a black doctor. You know, you get the best care from black doctors, but now, sadly, a black doctor has provided the world with an example of a black doctor mistreating a black woman. So now what? And coming off of the fade in the water, coming off of this was supposed to be such a great moment for us. You know what I mean? We're all unity, unity, unity. And then the worst kind of atrocity, the worst, the taking of a black child, the violating of a black woman. Black people joining Greek fraternities never sits it never it, and it should not. And it should not. Because what you have to understand is those people are pledging to a totally different God now. They they have to think totally different when they agree to go along with this stuff. You know how, like, you hear all the stories in the military how they take people and break them down and build them back up. That's the same thing they do in these sororities. I'm just talking about sororities because we're women here and that's what we're talking about. But same thing with the fraternities. They break you down and build you up, but what are they building you into is what you need to be asking yourself. What are they building you into? And I'm going to tell you that this doctor right here is not a great example. Yeah, right. Kwam Yasharala, please, because I can't take this no more. These doctors, this doctor here is not a great example of that. And so this I had my topic picked before this happened. Okay. I already knew I was going to talk about what part we as black women play in our current situation. I already knew I was going to talk about that, but this was just like a prime example of what I'm, ready to discuss. You see, like people like Candace Owens, right? Who I tend to disagree with her, and I'm going to tell you why I tend to disagree with her. I tend to disagree with her because she wants to just dissolve history. Like we're supposed to act like none of this ever happened and our current situation is totally our fault and only if we would learn how to read, write, and do math. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how ridiculous our arguments sound. Um, and so I'm gonna say this. We have to acknowledge our past. S- Starting with, let's go all the way back to the fact that if our ancestors, us, however you want to look at it, would have been keeping the law, we would not be here where we are right now. Even if you read in Deuteronomy, the Most High is not short with his words on how serious he takes his covenant with his people. And he says that, like, this is for you and your generations forever. And if you do this, I will do that. But if you don't do this, then this will happen to you. Very clear on that. Okay. And so if we start from there, derision. Thank you. See, I love articulate people. Thank you. Derision, trying to make erase history. That's how I feel about her. Um, and so if we start from there and look at our progression, look at any time we as black women are represented through history. And let me just say this, okay? When I speak about black women, you leaving? Okay, love you. Be safe. Um, when I direct my commentary towards black women, I want you to understand it is for a few reasons. Because I saw a comment, um, a lady was discussing the black women at the Montgomery event, and she was getting like bashed for it. They were like, "Oh, this is not a time to divide between black men and black women." No, nobody's trying to divide. That's not what we're doing here. But yeah, we are not the same. Okay. So we have to discuss these women's issues from a woman's point of view to get, the full potential, to get all the meat off the bone. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm directing my comments towards women, that's because that's who I've been directed to talk to. I have not been directed to address men. Strictly forbidden per the Bible and my husband. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm addressing women. Okay. So please, I just want to be clear about that. Um, okay, just was reading Deuteronomy today. When has the Lord ever been a liar? Hello. Was not and is not. Made himself perfectly clear multiple times. Throughout, I mean, how many times can you say a thing? How many different ways can you reiterate the thing? Because the Bible also contains practical examples of how we're to carry out. So, what more could he have done? You know what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe if you're on the YouTube at Monologue McGad, MONOLOGMAGAD, Facebook, wherever you are. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications if you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono and would like to donate. Cash App, $ the House of Mono. All right, so as far as this thing we're discussing here, it's really crazy to me when I see black people so disconnected from our history and from us as a whole. You will oftentimes run into black people who will go out of their way to disassociate themselves from any type of blackness. Um, you have stories. I mean, if you read, there's a book called Our Kind of People. And it contains stories of black people who live as white people. Okay. And I mean, to the extreme that they do not go out in the sun. They are scared to have children because they will often marry a Caucasian person. And then they're scared to have children because what if their child comes out brown? What if they take that baby in the sun and it starts getting a tan? I mean, these are the extents that some people will go through to disassociate from blackness. Okay. Um, and we have anytime that the black woman has been featured negatively in history, we have to go back and understand where this came from. We have to go back and understand that while, the Caucasian man might have been the plantation owner, his wife was just as much of an owner. Okay. Um while they were raping us and feeding our children to alligators, while they were cutting our bellies open, while they had us locked up as slaves in dungeons for sex work, while they were doing all of this to us, their woman was standing right there allowing it to occur. And sometimes taking part in it. Knowing good and well what her husband was doing, but oh well. And so, you know, even more baffling as to why we would jump on the feminism train, right? But so we've come to a point in time where nobody really has to say anything bad about us because we pretty much do it to ourselves. No, you don't really nobody has to go on a campaign bashing black women. All you have to do is pull up Sukiyana's IG, pull up a TikTok on Sexy Red, pull up the latest Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. The list goes on of black women who are readily degrading themselves physically, verbally, and every other way, readily degrading and defiling themselves to the detriment of the rest of us. King Connect, Shalom and Shalom. Thank you for joining me. Because they'll pick a few. They always talk about this. They'll pick a few, right? Whether you want to call it the talented 10th or whatever. They'll pick a few and they'll put them on the pedestal and they'll give them all the lights and the cameras. I don't know if you guys remember. But back in the early 2000s, on YouTube, when they started breaking down all the symbolism in the industry videos, they did a deep dive on Beyonce. And they talked about how in her Dangerously in Love video, it was basically walking through the process of fame and selling your soul. And so they talk about the scene where she's standing there and all the lights are flashing and all the girls are mimicking her. And this was supposed to symbolize one of the rewards for her sin, right? Oh, if you do this, all the girls want to be like you and you'll be famous and da da da. And that literally has become everyone's goal these days, to be famous, but not for no reason, just to be famous. You have people out here so desperate and thirsty for fame that you have grown black men literally living their lives. You know what? No, I'm not gonna say that. Here's why I'm not gonna say they live as women, because these niggas is walking around with full beards, cuz. Full beards and a bust down. 6-inch nails. Heavy makeup. And they will get on this Instagram and this Facebook and this TikTok and they will argue with you all day. And what are you even known for besides dressing like a woman? What else are you famous for? But who's making them famous? Because we know it's not heterosexual black men. So who's making them famous? Who's sitting right there with them keying and laughing it up and recording it all? It's us. It's us. Us is we. We is us. It's us. If I am trying to influence a group of people to do a thing, when you had to pick, when they pick teams in basketball, right? Sometimes there's a great team that you want to be on, and then there's the other person you're like, please, I don't want to be on a team. You want to be on the A team because this person knows how to play, you're gonna win, da da da. You don't want to be on this other person's team because so if I know that this person in team A, the captain of team A, has a greater influence, I'm going to use the captain of team A to influence the rest of the class, right? I'm going to pick the most influential, the most popular, and get them to do the thing. And they will convince the rest of the world. It's like when the Most High talked to Moses about delegation, captains of 10, captains of 20, captains of 50. I talk to you and you talk to them. What we was talking about American Gangster. Don't talk to me. You talk to Huey and Huey talk to me. Okay. So when the Most High was talking to Moses about delegation, I talk to you, you talk to them. Right. Um, and so what you have here in the world system is a group of people who, for their reasons, have to influence the world in a certain direction. They have to influence the world to walk with them, to walk against God, right? And the Bible even tells us, though, Judah, I'm talking to Judah directly. The Bible even tells us as Judah that the world will follow us. What our brothers will what bow to us? And I'm not saying in that way, but you see how the world follows us. If you get black people to do a thing, eventually the world will come into it. Let's be real. If the alphabet community was filled with a bunch of pasty people, do you think it would? Funky? Because why do they need us to co-sign everything? Why are we the forerunners of everything? Why are we so quick to lend ourselves? And here's the thing, right? Because they're only paying a few of us like that. It's only gonna be so many Cardi B's. It's only gonna be so many Nicki Minaj. It's only gonna be so many of them girls. And what we haven't realized yet is usually one at a time. Like we're at this new time now, but I remember when I was coming up, it was one black it girl at a time. It's like Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like she was it, and then Aaliyah, and she like that's it. One girl at a time. So yeah, we got a bunch of clones out here. But what about the rest of us? What about those of us who not getting these checks? What about those of us who still struggling day to day, trying to figure out how to pay our bills and all this other stuff? What about us? Why are we going along with this foolishness? When time after time, year after year, life after life, it has proven of no effect. Because no matter how much you go out and twerk at your local club, like, so what? You're still going back home broke. These industry girls have these women laying down for surgery. Life threatening. Y'all don't understand how life threatening a BBL is. Okay, but you have these girls going to lay down for this surgery, convincing other girls to go and do the same thing. What do you mean by convincing? Baby, why do they call them influencers? These doctors pay these girls to tell y'all, oh yeah, come down and risk it all. Come down and put your life on the line for a new body. I don't know if y'all seen Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, but Spice is recovering from emergency surgery after a BBL. And I wish I could show y'all the clip, but they got me once. They won't get me again. So if you can just go back and watch Monday's episode, and even if you don't want to watch it, just fast forward to the part where Spice is in the doctor's office, okay? Because they have her take off her shirt to do an exam. I don't know if y'all have ever seen a scar from emergency surgery, but they literally cut you from under your breast to your belly button. And the scar that she has left is an ugly one. And this is not me bashing, but I'm not going to act like she didn't do it to herself. This was a preventable injury. I mean, she almost died. Okay? She almost died going through that. But still to this day, it's like once you set the wheel in motion, you can't stop it. Once you agree to become a part of the monster, the beast, y- you can't stop it. So she went through all that and influenced all these girls to follow in these steps. And now she all messed up. And the irony of the situation is she went in to get her body done and came out with this ugly, ugly scar. And you can't see the scar from the outside, right? From the outside, it looks like she had a successful surgery. So when you start to take them clothes off, that you start to see the truth. K. Michelle is another one. But she's still going. This K. Michelle is still having surgeries. Every time you see her, she look different. A lot of these women suffer from mental illness. A lot of these women suffer from body dysmorphia, um, chronic, desperately low self-esteem, and they're using this fake beauty and this money to prop them up to make them feel good about themselves. And that version of them that's built up off surgery and makeup and money is what they're presenting to the world and telling other Black women, this is how you get to be happy. Because look at me, I'm so happy. I'm on TV and I'm rich and I got this and I got that. And don't you want to be like me? This is how you be like me. Risking it all to slut yourself out. They ain't risking it all to get married or none of that. Because they can't keep a man. And so, if you're a young Black girl, and let's keep it real. You're a young Black girl lost. You come from a single parent home. You don't have a strong example of male leadership. Hell, you don't have a strong example of female leadership. These are the examples that you have to go to. And I'm not saying that there's not it's crazy how long K. Michelle's been going through these surgeries. So yes, for years. Because she had the initial surgery. And I remember when she was talking about having to get everything removed and she went through that whole long thing. But now, what was she on lately? Marriage boot camp. She done changed skin colors and everything. Y'all not gonna tell me these people not bleaching their skin. Ain't that much light, ain't that much makeup. No, no, pimp, no, mm-mm. No, you're not about to tell me that. Mm-mm. I love Cat Williams. I love Cat Williams. I could watch that first one still to this day. Like, share, subscribe on the YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you are. Please excuse me, y'all. My husband said something to me today. He's like, I hope people don't think you got a drug problem because you're always wiping your nose. I promise you that's not what it is, okay? Just little allergies be getting in the way sometimes. So please, it's nothing like that, okay? I'm gonna clear that up. And so how do we not say that this is partly our fault? How do we not? No, it's not our fault that we live in a society where image is everything. It's not our fault that we live in a world that is dominated by media and images. It is not our fault that um the powers that be choose to uplift certain behaviors more than others. No, that's not our fault. We have nothing to do with that. But what is our fault is when we lend our energy and talents to this system, to this beast, knowing that it is meant to destroy and devour and leading other sisters astray. That is our fault. They say the gifts of God are without, well, no, not they say, it's in the Bible. The gifts of God are without repentance, right? Um, and so in all actuality, I could come in here and talk to y'all about anything. I have a gift, a speech. I could get up here and talk to y'all about anything for 2 hours, especially if it's something I'm interested in. Sure. I could get on here and drive y'all crazy about makeup and everything else that I love in life. But that's not what my that's not what my purpose is. That's not what my energy, my spirit, that's not what any part of me is for. I'm only here to promote the word of the Most High. That is it. I only wish to lead my sisters and cousins towards the Most High. That is it. So, me choosing to lend my because here's the thing, it didn't start with me, right? Just like this industry, okay, let's take Lotto. I don't know. It didn't start with Lotto, right? It didn't start with her, even though she's part of it now. It didn't start with her, and guess what? It's not going to stop with her. And the people that you led astray, they will continue on in that direction, even when you've had enough. See, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of this either, but this is something we all need to stop and think about because let's keep it funky. Sometimes we know we wrong. And instead of us having enough decency, and I'm going to say decency, instead of us having enough decency to say, let me keep my wrong to myself, unfortunately, we go out here and we share our wrong with others and we influence others to fall into our wrong. And you know what I'm saying? Let's be clear. Just because something isn't wrong for you doesn't mean it's not wrong for someone else. Like if you know you have a friend who has trouble controlling her drinking, okay, I'm not going to go out drinking with this friend. If you know a friend who feels convicted by eating meat, okay, I'm not going to eat meat with my friend. And even not so much with friends, right? Cuz to me, that's really meant more for strangers. Um if I know I'm going to a place where they don't um where they ask for their women's heads to be covered, I'm going to cover my head. Because let me explain. Um Paul talks about winning some for the cause of Christ. I forgot the what he said before that. But basically he was talking about how we assimilate to people within the law, how we assimilate to people when we're trying to reach them. Because if I go up to, a group of strippers and I'm trying to talk to them about the Most High, I'm not going to go in there using my best proper English. I'm going to definitely try to throw on as much of an Atlanta accent as I can find. You know what I'm saying? And try to assimilate myself and make myself relatable. Let them know, like, yeah, I've been here. I've been one of y'all, and y'all can make it out. You understand what I'm saying? But Here's another reason why we do have a hand in our own destruction, because we won't humble ourselves to do that. You don't want nobody to know you had a past. As far as anyone is concerned, you were born, you fell from heaven, and the stork bought you a baby. And here you are today. And it goes with this comment here. It's our fault because we don't have to be here. We don't. Exactly. We do not. But we won't humble ourselves, right? You overcome by your testimony. But it's not just for you to overcome, it's for others to overcome as well. You understand what I'm saying? Your testimony is not just for you. It's not for you. You already know your story. Thank you. Look at my husband. I become all things to all men, to by all means win some. And that's when, like, you assimilate to your environment. I'm not gonna go down to the hood in khakis and in the, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go down to the hood looking like I'm about to report to the office. You're not going to reach me that way. But again, we're too proud to do that. We, for some reason, once we become enlightened, some of us, once we become married, some of us, we forget that we was once them. Some of us forget that we once used to turn up. Some of us forget that we once used to twerk at brunch. Uh, Speak not evil of men, for we were once all foolish, deceived, brawlers. Okay? We've all once been there. The difference in those who wish to see their people overcome versus those who will still play a hand in their own destruction is those who are willing to be honest and open about what they went through. Because those who are not willing to be open and honest will get on social media and talk to you about the virtues and the positivities of sex work. Those who are not willing to be open and honest will influence you to thinking that you don't need a man and men ain't no good. Meanwhile, every time you turn around, they got a new one in their bed. And if you don't need a man, then you don't need a man for nothing. Why are you sleeping around? A lot of babies from women who claim they don't need a man. Just saying. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself a servant unto all that I may gain more. All praises. But we won't do that. We feel like, "Oh, I'm better than them." And hear what I'm saying. You're better than the behavior. Yes. You're better than the behavior. Absolutely. And while you may be more enlightened, while you may have now come into a knowledge of the truth, I, in my life experience, have been humbled because I have seen God take some people who thought they were doing, hell, it's happened to me a few times. Got a little giddy and ahead of myself, and God had to pluck me on the forehead and make me sit back down for a minute. But we won't be honest with ourselves. We don't want to do the work. And so this is a problem because one thing I have noticed when we get in these public arenas and try to have these conversations with Black women, there is an endless list of excuses as to why it's not our fault. And that is not what I'm here to provide. Let's be clear about that. I fully believe that we have to take accountability for our actions at this point, and even the actions of those who came before us. Does the Bible not tell us to repent for the sins of our ancestors as well? We have to take accountability for the actions of those who came before us as well. And I'm saying we have to take accountability because you cannot change a thing that you are not willing to confront. If I'm not willing, listen, if me and you got a beef, okay, and I'm not willing to sit down and talk to you about our beef, then it's never gonna get fixed. We just gonna have beef and it's grow into a big old cow. I mean, it's just gonna keep the problem is gonna keep growing and growing and growing because no one wants to acknowledge it. So we'll just put a band-aid on it or we'll give it some cute kind of little saying. You know what I'm saying? Anything to try to justify our mess. We'll come up with some old BS story that we heard somewhere about why I don't have to submit to my husband because and I can do what I want. Well, ask Miss Ma'ams that's still trying to get out of Dubai. Like they gave her her passport back, but she owed them people like $1,600, I think. She still owed him some money to get out the country, so she still can't leave. I mean, I don't know if you all have ever had an issue in your body and you just ignored it and ignored it and ignored it and it got worse and it got worse and it got worse to the point where you was stricken down somewhere and had no ability to you were in the true definition of an emergency, which means you had no choice in your actions. That's an emergency. Okay. I don't know how many of you have let something go to the point where it became an emergency, but I feel like that's where we are right now. And I'm gonna tell you it's an emergency because I don't know if y'all are looking around, but I'm finna tell y'all the Most High is coming to redeem His people. Excuse me, Yahweh is coming to redeem His people. And I pray every day to listen. I don't take it for granted, honey, and neither should any of us. Knowledge puffeth up. Y'all better deflate y'all heads and understand something. None of us is guaranteed a seat anywhere. I pray every day just to be worthy. I'm thankful for the ability to pray, and I don't think y'all even understand that. I don't think y'all get that. And so what I'm noticing here is while we have black men getting themselves together, lining themselves up, trying to get their homes straight, we black women are out here wilding out and showing our behinds and constantly seeking to separate ourselves from the black man. Playing a hand in your own destruction because how can you be protected if you won't be obedient? If I tell my child, don't go over there, don't go over there, don't go over there, and then they go over there, listen, sir, I told you not to go over there. You went over there, you took that chance. But we as grown women who should very well be able to understand this concept refuse to exercise it in our own lives. I always say I'm doing better than what I that is a word right there. We won't we won't sit down and listen long enough for anybody to be able to tell us anything because we always have an excuse. I was raised by a single parent. Okay. I was too. There are hundreds and thousands of us that were. Knowing the reason for your shortcoming, the reason for your trigger, the reason for you doing the thing that you would not do, but you find yourself doing anyway. The reason for that is not an excuse to continue doing the thing at all. Okay. Now that you know why you're doing the thing, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to yell at a teenager. Um, Now that I know the reason for doing the thing, that is meant for me to go back and examine this behavior and try to figure out where it came from. That is not for me to put this badge of trauma on my shoulder and wear it as a sign so that when I want to treat people like crap, I can just point to my sign and say, oh, well, this is where I'm treating you like crap. So just deal with it. That's not what that's for. You coming into the truth of the Bible is not for you to put, oh, I'm cursed on a shirt as an excuse for you not to be putting forth your best effort here on earth. It's not an excuse. The daughters of Zion were haughty. Us, our mamas and them. And we the same ones today still making other people rich because we refuse to acknowledge our sin. And again, I do not know what it's like to live with alopecia. My mother has it. So I've witnessed what she's went through. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? This is not me punching down on anyone with that condition at all. But it's like if you come to me with a runny nose and watery eyes and I see the pollen, am I supposed to act like I don't know that this is from seasonal allergies? I'm supposed to act like I don't know that. That's like me letting you walk around with the beam in your eye. I see you with it. Oh well. And again, a hand in our own destruction. Because you won't even come to the AA meeting. Okay? Forget 12 steps. You won't even come to the meeting and stand up and say, hello, my name is so-and-so, and I have a problem. You won't go to the Most High and say, dear God, it's me, Margaret, I have a problem. You won't do that. And so how are you? And we don't understand how each other affects each other. Right. And then here's the thing that I have tended to notice about us. And listen, I'm not saying it's only us, but all I've ever been in life is a Black woman. That is all I've ever been. I've been a Black baby, a Black infant, okay, a Black baby girl, a Black infant girl, a Black toddler girl, a Black child, a Black girl. Like that's all I've ever been is a Black girl who grew into a Black woman. So this is the only life experience that I can give you. I don't know anything about anybody else. That's why I don't get up here and talk about nobody else. I don't know what white people do. I don't even really know how Northern Kingdom runs. I grew up in a Southern Kingdom household. So I'm just going to talk about what I know. And I know about being a Black woman. And I know, I know that yeah, I know that if we don't get our stuff together, we're going to get left behind. We're going to get left. And here's the thing. We don't realize that when we fall into these sins and we are leading others into these sins, we are actually siding with our oppressor. If you look into Blacks in government and politics, and you Ayo, shalom and shalom. Thank you for if you look into Black people in government and politics, and I'm not going to talk about Barack Obama because he's not a descendant of slaves. He's not a descendant of slaves, and I'm tired of people calling him Black. Because now you're just trying to make people think that all brown people of African descent are the same, and that's not true. All right, so I don't refer to him as black. I'm sorry, he's African. Uh, when you look at how they've failed us, eh, how they failed us, you have to wonder why anyone would go through such great um would go through such hard work just to get in a position and then fail their people because um gosh, what was that man's name? Lord, please forgive me. I do not remember this man's name. But he was a representative from Baltimore when the Freddie Gray situation occurred. This was a few years ago, but I remember they came down on the elected officials from Baltimore because people in Baltimore have been complaining for decades about the conditions of their city and the poverty and the squalor that they're living in. Why is that? Why is it that in the age where we're told that Black people can do anything, our condition as a whole has not improved? In fact, I'm gonna say it's gotten worse because we've nearly obliterated the Black family, thereby nearly obliterating the Black community. Because you cannot have a community without families. I know I'm not supposed to say this. We women cannot get along enough. We cannot get along enough to establish and run a community. If that's the case, then the world will be full of matriarchies and not patriarchies. Think about it. Take a second. As long as women have been complaining about men, if we had the ability to, would there not be more women ran governments? But we keep letting those who seek to oppress us convince us that we don't need our very start, our very foundation. I know, and see, here's so hard because we don't want to accept the fact that God is the head of Christ and Christ is the head of man and man is the head of the woman. We don't want to accept that. And here's what I'm saying, sis. I'm not saying that every man you see you have to submit to. No, I'm not saying that. I'm speaking specifically for your husband, that man that you choose to be your husband. Now, I will say this, ma'am, sis, cousin. You owe Black men a certain amount of respect. Yes, absolutely. I'm always going to, you know what I'm saying? Be respectful, move out the way. And see, here's another thing we don't want to admit, right? Respecting a man can sometimes look like what some would consider oppressive behavior, right? For example, yesterday one of my husband's business partners came over to pick up a pup, right? And my husband was getting something for one of the other dogs. I'm at home, me and my bonus son. So they were in the pups are in the living room, I'm in the kitchen. I let them in and then I disappeared into the kitchen. I'm not there's no reason for me to be sitting up in these men's face at all. For what? He know about the dogs. He can call my husband. Yes, I'm available for any, you know what I'm saying, questions that I can answer, but there's no reason for me to be sitting up in these men's face. And so many of us have lost that respect for our man, for the men around us, and for ourselves. We don't respect the natural biology of men anymore. And so you just are oblivious of the effect of your presence, which is rather naive, ignorant, and I'm going to be honest with you, unsafe. It's not safe. And so, how do we play a hand in our own destruction? I would think that we as Black people would understand that what one of us does affects on all of us. And so when you as a Black woman, proceed to live your life full of hate and disrespect for the Black man, you are now putting a bad taste in this man's mouth toward other Black women. And I'm not saying it's all our fault, but I'm not going to contribute to it. No, it's not my fault that Black women are twerking on the internet every day, but I'm not going to contribute to it. I'm not lending my members to the destruction of my people. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with Tammy Roman. Um, she started out in basketball. Actually, she started out in the real world back in the 90s. She started out in real world, then she was on Basketball Wives, and so she's been on a bunch of other shows. Um, but her issue, she's always had body issues. Like when she was on a real world, she got her jaw wired shut so that she wouldn't eat. And she was already skinny then. Okay. But so if you look at her now, she's like gaunt. Like you can see her. I don't find it attractive to look at her. She looks unhealthy. And hear what I'm saying. I'm not bashing her. Okay. Um, but she looks unhealthy is what I'm going to say. And there was a picture of her, and first of all, she didn't look like herself. She did not look like herself at all, okay? And but you have people on the comments saying, "Yo, I'm worried about you. I'm concerned about you. I hope you're okay." And then here come people say, "She has body dysmorphia. Leave her alone." So and I see somebody with a problem. I see you have a problem. But I'm not supposed to act like you have this problem? I'm not so see, and everybody wanna talk about, "Oh, y'all was making fun of Chadwick Bo" okay, but no, this lady has told y'all that she has this and instead of someone saying like, "Hey, sis, maybe you need to take a break from the limelight," because think about it, if you had a regular job, right? Now your picture is not in front of the world for everyone to see. So maybe seeking fame isn't the best thing to do in this situation. And but I always say this too. I don't know what kind of checks they looking at. Okay. I don't know what kind of checks they looking at. I don't know how many O's they got. And so I am not hesitant to acknowledge that yes, it may be a little easier talking from, over here when the check is not being pushed in my face, but it doesn't obliterate the fact that this is still a problem. Okay? Big conscious. I see a post on FB. If my man has company, I'm going into my room. There's so much controversy about it, but there's no point in being in a room full of men. Absolutely not. Now, I will say this. Me and my husband, we hang tough, like tough. Like I don't want to go nowhere without him. That is my best friend. That's my butt. Like that is we do everything together. We pray together. We go out, we kick it together. We'll come back and do like we do everything together. Okay. So yeah, if it's a group conversation and I'm in there with my husband, yeah, you might find me in there if we're all chilling, but I'm not just going to invite myself to the situation. I'm gonna be in there with him. You know what I'm saying? I love Tammy, and she is, and I don't understand why nobody will help her. That is really sad. This generation has been conditioned to leave people alone when they're having problems instead of reaching out and helping them. And I remember when the participate participation participation trophy. Excuse me, I had to get my words together. I remember when the participation trophy started. and you would just get an award for being there. And you cannot point out anybody's weaknesses or their shortcomings or anything like that, because we're all here and we're all supposed to be playing the same. And now we live in a world of adults full like that, right? Like, oh no, we're all supposed to be playing the same, and you can't say anything to anybody except if you are trying to defend the Bible or the God of the Bible. They'll come after you then. But for anything else, just supposed to stand by and let you do what you want to do. That's crazy. So if I see a big old truck coming to hit you and you're about to cross the street, I'm just supposed to let you cross the street. I'm not supposed to say nothing. Does that sound right to you? But that's how we live our life every day. We continue to send our sisters and our brothers across the street, across the 285 in rush hour traffic, because y'all will sit up here and be like, "Hey girl," with this grown behind man and his full beard, okay? Sitting up in the nail salon getting your nails done, and I used to manage a nail salon. Trust me, men come in there and they want the 6 inches and the blend, and they want their nails all the way done. And we keep doing it. If we as Black women would pull out of anything, it would freaking collapse. If we would stop lending our energy to these fashion labels, they would collapse. The only reason Black people mess with fashion the way they do is because of rappers influencing other people to do it. If it wasn't for Little Kim, it'd be Christian Lacroix who? Dior what? Who was a Tommy Hilfiger? And see, here's the thing. Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger will pay these rappers to wear their clothes and promote them. Yeah, they will. And then they'll get on Oprah or wherever else and say, "Oh, my clothes aren't made for Black people." I remember when this happened. Biggie and Puffy, and Tommy Hilfigers and Tim's, and these people are saying, "No, my Timbs were never meant for you niggers. Timberlands are not meant to be worn in the ghetto." If you don't believe me, all you have to do is Google it, guys. This is what I'm saying. Like, we live in the information age. All you have to do is Google it. And so, yes, we lend a hand in our own destruction because we will direct people to send those dollars out of our community instead of encouraging people to spend our dollars with each other. Let's say, this Israelite business ain't doing nails for no one. I know that's right, sis. I know that's right. We won't we won't root our children in the truth. Here's what we have to understand. We're the mothers. We're the nurturers. Our kids spend more time with us, they're supposed to, than they do with anyone else. It's up to we're the ones that are supposed to instill things. Like, I okay, because I'm blessed enough to be able to homeschool, um, I have the ability to every day study the Bible with my boys. Every day we go into the Bible. Every day we're reviewing the laws. Like, every day we're praying every day. And so it's already in them. And then they go and talk to their dad, and now he can build upon, what we've been learning, but it's my job as the mother to teach them. Now, if I wanted to play a hand in my own destruction, I would not teach them. I would not teach them because why? It gets hard. It's hard doing freaking homeschool. Some days I don't want to do it. Sometimes I run out of patience. There's a reason I never want. I don't think I ever wanted to be a teacher, and I know why. There's a reason. I couldn't imagine dealing with 20 or 30. Oh my gosh, like the two is enough. Okay, I could not imagine dealing with a whole classroom of kids. Okay, but if I wasn't putting it in them anyway, there would be that would never come out of them naturally for their father to build upon. It wouldn't be part of their conversation if I didn't put it in them. The Bible tells us that this is what we should be constantly talking about with our children and with each other. Keeping the law, how to live out the law. Your first ministry is at home. I would be totally remiss, a total idiot, and a whole fool if I was coming up here talking to y'all every week, if I was coming up here making content talking about Bible-based womanhood, but my kids are out here biblically ignorant. I can't even think of a word for it. That's how stupid that would be. Just like an infidel. I mean, seriously, it's crazy. I'm so grateful for IO because I have the ability now to homeschool our baby. Yes. And it's such a blessing. Y'all don't even know. And the more you give them, the more they want. Like these kids want to know about God. They want to know the Bible. They want to know the truth. So it is such a blessing. Listen, I said it earlier and I say it again. Listen, salute to all the men that's out here making a way for their wives to stay home. Y'all do not do us praise. So listen, thank y'all on behalf of us. Thank y'all for real. It gets real instead. Listen, they don't even know. Okay, they don't know the half of being a stay-at-home mom. Because you're not just a stay-at-home mom, you are also a stay-at-home wife. Okay. Look, that's a whole nother show right there. Y'all think y'all know, but y'all have no idea. One day I'm gonna take you behind the music, okay? You're gonna see what's going on. um, but so yes, so look, if I don't raise my sons in the law, right, and raise them in the Bible, um, when they get older, Yahweh, I mean, we all have to go. I hope that me and my husband live very long and healthy and prosperous lives. And, Yahweh forbid he have to leave here before me. How am I supposed to expect my sons to understand that, okay, now it's kind of your job to fill in for the protector role when your dad's not here? How am I going to teach them that if I'm not teaching them the Bible? And how am I going to expect them to live that if I'm not giving them the conviction to live it out? I mean, I can say anything, but if you're not teaching your child any kind of fear or reverence of anyone or anything, because if you're not teaching them to fear God, then why should they fear you? And by fear, I mean respect. I don't mean be scared of. I mean respect, revere, and obey. Because what's the consequences for not listening to me? I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I'm what some of y'all would call a gentle parent. Physical discipline is like the last resort, in my house. And I know Black people don't like to hear that. Physical discipline is the last resort. I talk to my children the way that I wish someone would have talked to me. We're gonna be quiet, we're gonna be calm, we're gonna work it out. Okay, now Lying is an automatic no, but my kids also understand that lying is breaking the law of God. So they understand that there's consequences beyond mommy and daddy for lying. Okay. They understand that honoring your parents is the law of God. So there are consequences beyond mommy and daddy for not honoring your parents. But so if I wanted to play a part in my own destruction, I wouldn't tell them any of this. I would wake them up, send them to school for America to put their programming into them, to put their humanism, their individualism, their absence of community. I would send them to America's school so they can get all that double speak and all that nonsense and then come home and treat me any kind of way. If I wanted to play a part in my own destruction. If I wanted to play a part in my own destruction, then I wouldn't be here talking to y'all right now. I'd be out somewhere. It's 9:30 on a Thursday night. It's lit somewhere. Tell me I'm lying. I don't think I am. It is lit somewhere right now. Right, we trying to leave legacies that follow the Most High. Exactly, all the way down to the great grandchildren. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, like from my sons, and I'm only saying my sons because my daughters were older when we came into truth. Um, so they weren't born into it. And Paxton, he was like 2 or 3 when we came into the truth. So he, you know what I mean, never was got the grasp of church or whatever. But so from my sons on down, like I want every descendant to be born into the truth. I don't ever want to have to go back and redo this. Never. So that is my prayer that every one of my descendants be born into the truth. Definitely. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get these comments right. That's right. I need you to. Oh, he sound like my husband. And I love it. That is a beautiful thing. But you sound like Mr. Mono right now. You can't be gone. What I'm gonna do? Oh, Lord, listen. I was managing that nail salon for a few months, and I wasn't here every day. When I tell you, the house was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. He was like, "Nah, you got to come back." So I get it, and I love that. I love it. I want to see more of it. Okay. So listen, the easiest way for a black woman to take a part in her own destruction to ensure that I love y'all. The easiest way for a black woman to take, well, there are 2 ways. 2 of the easiest ways. You're gonna destroy your heads. You're gonna destroy your heads. You're gonna be disobedient to your heads. What do you mean? Well, if you're married, you have a husband. That is your head. You have Christ and you have God. Yep, I know. That's a lot, right? And it, you're probably feeling like, oh, that's not fair. What about the man? Who does he have to answer to? Christ and God. So if I wanted to, because the laws of God are given with the best intent. And this is what you got to understand. Like the creator of the universe gave you first dibs on the principles of how this thing works. And I think this is what we don't understand. Okay. Um, it's literally the instruction booklet. I don't know how much simpler to break it down to you because do we really read instruction booklets anymore? But you know how like you turn the TV on and then the manual starts like when you rip the TV out the plastic. When you open a new TV, put it up on the wall, and you first turn it on, and it walks you through the setup manual and how to get it going. Okay, some of y'all don't read the manual. Some of y'all don't read the manual. Some of y'all will just be fidgeting with the remote control, and now you done broke the TV, and you gotta pay all this money to either buy a new one or pay for someone to fix it when all you had to do was follow the instructions in the first place. but we won't do that. We won't pick up the book and read it on our own, but we'll go and let someone lie to us about having to pay them to let them lie to us about what's in the book. We'll do that. Sure. I'll turn on my TV and listen to someone lie to me about what's going on in the Bible. Sure. And a lot of us will avoid the truth because we don't want to confront the areas that it was going to affect in our life. Some people have put their toes in the lake of the truth. They have come into it. They have felt the sweetness in their mouth. But when it got to their belly and got bitter, they put the plow down and turned around and continued on the path to death and destruction. Some of y'all say y'all want to get married and y'all want a good black man, and I need me a good black man. I want me a strong man. Yes, protect, provide. But when it gets bitter in your belly, now all of a sudden he ain't ish and he's controlling and he's abusive. And why is he so mean to me? And let's be clear, I am not trying to not compromise, but I'm not trying to like make light of any abusive situations. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a clear, distinct, and very big gap between a man being the head of his household and a man abusing you. And because y'all not used to anybody saying anything that's not complimentary or flattering to you, because all you've been around is women all your life, and if a woman says something crazy to you, you immediately go on the defense. So because you have not learned how to live with a man, how to deal with a man, how to communicate with the man, anytime a man says anything to you besides, "Oh, you're so pretty and I love you and can I feed you?" you it's up and it's stuck. You throwing a hat in the air and waiting for everybody to, and that's not right. That is not right at all. That is the quickest way. Buying a straw man. That's what you want to do. 'Cause you don't care. The man listen, Imma be honest with y'all, okay, because I see what my husband go through. I'm glad I'm a woman. I'll deal with a period. I'll deal with the cramps. I'll deal with birthing the babies. I'll deal with that. I'm glad to be a woman, okay? Because not only do my man gotta deal with stuff here, he gotta go out in the world and deal with stuff. I don't have to deal with worldly stuff. I really don't. The most it gets to is when the first of the month come around, he'll be like, "Hey, don't forget to pay the bills." And I log online and I do and push the buttons and do my thing. That is the extent of my worldly concerns. All of my other concerns have to deal with my household and my children. I don't have to worry about a boss. I don't have to nobody's expecting me to be anywhere at any time besides my husband. Like nobody's putting any pressure on me. I don't have to listen to nobody else's crap. I don't gotta deal with nobody else attitude. And guess what? When it gets to be too much for me, I go in my room and turn on TV and take a nap, honey. Okay? So my man has it, and my man has a lot more pressure than I do. Okay, and I definitely recognize it. A lot of sisters want a yes man. They don't know how to deal with a Jehu. Right. They want to why do I want to say Ahab? Jezebel's husband. That's who they want. That's who they want. Listen, and Ahab, right? I was right. So like I said, we don't, and I want to stress this, okay? Because again, like there's just a lot of stuff about marriage that I feel like is not talked about. And unfortunately, some sisters will walk into marriage expecting one thing and finding out it's another, but they walked in totally unprepared. Thank you, Yamaya. They walked in totally unprepared for what marriage really consists of and what it is a part of. And again, like that's one of those things that you need to see growing up. You need to see it to know how it is. Because I get if you're not used to having a man in your house at the head of your house, then yes, the behavior can seem controlling. Um, but I honestly feel like, in my experience, right, when you see a white husband leading his family and his wife, oh, he's such a good father and he's such a good husband. And look at him, he's so loving and he's leading his family as Christ led the church. But when you see a black man do it, he's so aggressive and controlling. What's wrong with him? And so I'm begging my sisters to let's be more aware of how we are viewing our men. Okay? Because we've all, we all like to watch TV. I love a good TV show. I know y'all do too. And so let's be aware of the fact that this system, this mechanism, this machine has formed our thoughts regarding not just ourselves, but our men and our children. If you're constantly shown images of destructive black men, abusive black men, almost anything a black man does that is not complimentary or not flattering, you're going to be able to configure that into this negative imagery in your mind, right? Why are you being so aggressive? Why are you talking to me like that? Kenya Moore is a good one for this. If you've ever watched her on Real Housewives of Atlanta, anytime a black man says something to her she doesn't like, why is he being so aggressive? Why is he being so disrespectful? And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, sometimes it's not unwarranted. But what you can't do is think that you're gonna talk to a man any kind of way, treat a man any kind of way, and then still expect him to raise up and be your protector and your provider when you feel like it's convenient for him to be. Protecting you is not just standing in front of you, you know, to catch a bullet. Protecting you is not just getting up when you hear a weird noise in the house. Protecting you is sometimes saying, "Hey, boo, I don't feel comfortable with you hanging with sis like that. I don't really think you should be talking to her. I don't like her spirit. Hey, boo, I don't really think you should go right now. No, I'm not feeling that. Why don't we do you know what I'm saying? It's different aspects of your life. When your husband want to call for prayer and fasting and you so busy being rebellious. You can't control me. I'm the spiritual head of this household. And believe it or not, there are black women in the Christian church today that believe that they are the spiritual head of their household. I've never heard anything more crazy in my life because why would you be a man? Why would you be with a man who cannot lead you spiritually and walk you through the Bible? And that's what I be saying about y'all single sisters. Y'all need to get into these men's doctrine and theology. Find out what they believe, because first of all, that's what you're going to have to live under. And I've said this to y'all before. I need a man that I know can get a prayer through. All right. I need a man that I know is keeping these laws to the best of his ability. And when he speaks to the Lord, God will be like, excuse me, I hear my son talking. Just a minute. My son needs me. Hold on. That's the kind of man I want. I have. And that's the kind of man I want for y'all. Seriously. Ain't nobody like my black man. Hello, even when he corrects me, and he will. Gotta take that. He does it because he loves me. And this is what we fail to realize. Any man that just lets you go out here looking any kind of way, acting any kind of way, he does not care for himself, nor does he care for you, because a man that loves you wants to present you in the best light possible. What does the Bible say? So they can present us blame spotless, right? that configures in the world as well, because you think when you out here being all loud and rowdy that people aren't looking at you like you're crazy, like you're gutter, like you're dirty, like you're ghetto, like what is wrong with her? Her husband needs to come get her. I know I be saying it. I do. Like, child, where is your man? Why are you living like this? This is so ghetto. And see, that's the stuff that we need to be elitist about. We don't need to be elitist about incomes. We don't need to be gatekeeping careers, um, training, spiritual life advice. Like, we don't need the stuff that we need to gatekeep. We don't. The stuff that we need to be protective about. We don't. We do not. We just leave it all. Nobody cares because you don't care. Spiritual head is the dumbest thing I've ever. Oh yes, girl, it's a thing. They will tell you they are the spiritual head. They have the stronger connection and stronger relationship with God. So then why would you marry? I've never understood that. That's like you're bringing a knife to a gunfight. That's bringing a plastic knife to a gunfight. It makes no sense. And again, it to your own destruction and detriment. If you are trying to be a righteous sister, get you a righteous man. Don't think that you're going to be righteous and maintain your righteousness dealing with a worldly man. Now, listen, if you're already in that situation, the Bible says as long as the unbeliever is willing to stay, keep them so that you can change them through your conversation and your sanctification. And if that's your struggle, I'm praying for you. But to my single sisters and cousins, let me tell you something. It would be over. It would be over because my relationship with God has been going on too long. And again, if you're a righteous woman, that's going to be a big conflict for you. What about when he wants you to do something that's against the law? Then what? Now you're in a predicament because sin is sin. So what are you going to do? Don't even, I, there's nothing to entertain. There's not, if that brother is not in the Bible, in his word, in the trying to really get to the truth of the Bible, there's nothing for you to entertain, ma'am, sis cousin. This is what I keep telling y'all. When it is time to go, it is time to go. When you are finished paying for your groceries at Kroger, you don't stand around hemming and hawing. I mean, unless you work there or something. But for a normal person, you don't stand around hemming and hawing and kikiing. You get your groceries, you go to the car, and you go home. It should be the same thing when you've had a conversation with a person and you realize that this ain't what it is. Okay, well, let me pack on and go home then. Block. And I know that might sound harsh, but this is how we destroy ourselves. We don't want to acknowledge how freaking sensitive and emotional that we are. And we're supposed to be this way because our emotion led thinking is meant to balance out our husband's logic led thinking. Like me and my husband are kind of going through it right now because this man works, works, works. Okay. And trust me, I would rather have this issue than have it the other way around. Okay. So I'm not complaining at all, but I have to come in and balance him and like, hey, remember me? You remember me over here romantically? We don't get a lot of time for vacation and a lot of time for just me and him. So every now and then I have to go and tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, honey." Not that he doesn't love me anymore. I don't it's not that. But when my man gets locked in and focused on a goal, that's all everything is geared and focused towards that goal. And again, great problem to have. Please understand, I do not I'm not complaining. I'm just stating how The two complementary opposites are supposed to balance each other, okay? And so until you find the husband that you can that you are free to be emotionally sensitive with, you've got to guard your heart. You've got to guard your emotions, guard your energy. Like you have to be very protective of that stuff. All right. Because how many of us will be honest and say, that wrong man found you at the wrong time and it's some stuff that you're paying for the rest of your life. Okay? A lot of women, myself included, got some kids from some situations that you know that you should have never been in. You know you should have never been talking to that man. Soon as he smiled at you, you knew you should have turned and walk away. How do I know when I'm supposed to turn and walk away? When it's uncontrollable? When you get all tingly inside and you just turn and walk away. Turn and walk away. Entertain him on the phone only. Like if you feel like you tripping, okay, give him a conversation and see how that goes. And if the conversation is lining up with the lust that you're feeling, uh, thank you, no thank you, have a nice day. I'm just being honest with you because if we want to change, we have to be honest. Y'all got to start keeping it real with yourselves. Listen, I wish that I could walk around with all of y'all and be like, nope, don't do that. No, no, but you got to have your own discernment. You got to have your own discernment and you have to be strong enough, aware enough, responsible enough, love yourself enough to know when it is time to go. I used to have a problem with if God told me no about something, for some reason, I would still be curious and be like, well, it's not going to be that bad. I mean, I know he's saying no, but I'm sure this is going to be fun. And every freaking time, regretted it majorly. So please, one of the goals that we have here at the House of Mono is to stop y'all from making some of these same mistakes that we have made. And so listen to me, please, ma'am, sis cousin. I know you might be in love and you might be infatuated and he might seem like everything, but if his fruits are not reflective of a man who has a relationship with God, who is a commandment keeper, a Sabbath observer, if his fruit do not line up with that, nothing else matters. Prove a friend. That is in the Bible. Judge them by their fruit. This is in the Bible that you all claim to read, and the God that you all claim to love said it, but you refuse to listen. I don't know why. I don't know why. Next time I'm going to run as fast as you can and don't look back. Every time. Every single time. And let's not act like the Most High don't be speaking to us. He speaks to us differently. For me, I hear his voice. For some of y'all, he may send signs and confirmations. However, the Most High is dealing with you, he's made it perfectly clear that for you not to be dealing with this man, but you go on anyway because he make you feel good. And then what you do, you start sleeping with him. Lord, please help me. But he told you to leave him alone in the first place because he knew that this would happen. We run around doing stuff like this, but then we get mad at our kids when they touch the hot iron. But you do the same thing. You do the same thing. You just figure because the coils aren't orange that, oh, it's maybe not that hot. Because you can't see the steam coming from the iron. The Lord already knows the water is in the iron. The iron is plugged in and that water is getting hot. He already knows this. That's why he's telling you, leave it alone, walk away, back up, but you won't listen. And so now here you are getting burnt. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. If we as Black women would be obedient, our men would reverence us more as a whole. They would feel more obligated to protect and nurture us. But because we insist on getting out in society and making a fool of the Most High and of our Black men, because you judge a nation of people based on how their women act. So if our women are out here acting like tramps and skeezers and prostitutes, what do you expect the world to think of our men? And also our God. Because we Black folks love to claim to be godly, right? We're such a God-fearing Christian people, right? How does our behavior reflect on our God? And then when people look at us and say, "Oh, they're cursed of God," because that was their excuse when they were kidnapping us. They're cursed of their God anyway. It doesn't matter. And so when people are using that as their excuse to destroy us, it's our own fault. We don't reverence God. We don't have no respect for God. Why should anyone else? We don't fear our God, so why should you? Through our sins and our actions, we have displayed to the world, because even when our foolishness, our God is merciful, right? So here we are living, breathing, some of us healthy, while we're out here committing the very acts of sin. So just think about how you feel when these rap artists get on stage for their awards and they're talking about thanking God. The first thing you're thinking is, what God you talking about? Because my God don't condone this kind of behavior. Well, how do you think that the rest of the world is looking at us when we get up here, act a fool, twerk in public, popping our coochies and doing everything else, every demoralized, debased, nasty, scandalous thing that we can think to do? How do you think the rest of the world is looking at us and judging our God? You claim to be Bible believers, but you live in the exact opposite. So, in the way some of y'all try to be Christian bullies, don't tell me nothing. If your God talk to people like that, I don't want no part of it. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much My husband is not here to tell the boys that it's time for them to come down. So they're probably not going to come down today. Oh no. Listen, don't forget to go to iTunes and pre-order the album Let the OG Talk. My husband is actually on a press run right now. He's doing an interview right now. That's why he's not here. So please go head to iTunes and pre-order the album Let the OG Talk. I fell for the foolery and was loving it, enjoyed it till the pain started becoming reality. I learned the hard way, but I learned. All praise to the Most High. All praises. You know what? You asked for it. I'm gonna try to work on that for you. So next week, y'all, I'm probably gonna be on Wednesday. I'm gonna announce it, but my husband has an interview with a buyer from inside the nation. So please tune into that on Thursday. So I'm going to I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all know. I might come to y'all Wednesday or Friday. Imma see. It's probably going to be Friday because there's another podcast on Wednesday that I like, and I love to support this family. So I probably won't do it on Wednesday. Probably gonna try to do it on Friday. But we'll see what we come up with. I will keep y'all posted and let y'all know. Part 2. Okay, yes, ma'am. I got y'all on the part 2. I got y'all. I promise. Be praying for me as I do that. I want to see the babies. I'm gonna post them. Friday. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Friday. The community has spoken. I will see you guys next Friday then at 8 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel. Look at the time getting away from me. I have to clear up the air for Nasai TV. I love y'all so much. Shalom and good night.
Yeah.